Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. Today we have our Week 15 Sunday games, and unfortunately I didn't get all the changes that I wanted to in for today, but we'll just stick with our regular data, so let's get right to it. Getting into the later afternoon games, you have Green Bay going to Denver, where Green Bay's favored on the money line with a spread of 1.5 and a total line of 42.5. I've moved over to the averages if you need those, and looking at their rankings, you have a pretty average offense from Green Bay. They have a pretty good scoring rate of 10, an average passing rate of 14, an average rushing rate of 18, and then their tight end rate of 11. They're probably somewhere in the top third of the league with their defense, with an allowed scoring rate of 6, allowed passing rate of 8, allowed rushing rate of 9, and an allowed tight end rate of 8. For Denver, it's actually a very similar story, with about an average offense, with a scoring rate of 15, a passing rate of 17, a rushing rate of 13, and a tight end rate of 26. And then defensively, you have an allowed scoring rate of 4, allowed passing rate of 12, allowed rushing rate of 2, and an allowed tight end rate of 26. Your quarterbacks for this game are Jordan Love and Bo Nix, with Love averaging 16.7 fantasy points per game, and Bo Nix averaging 17.4. There you have the seasonal averages, and looking at their turnovers, you have Jordan Love with 4 passing interceptions this season, and 2 fumbles lost due to sacks, while Bo Nix has 9 interceptions this season, and 1 fumble lost due to a sack. And then looking at how they impact the rushing game, you have Jordan Love with 12.5% of the rushing carry share and 12.2% of the rushing yard share. And then over with Bo Nix, you have 17.4% of the rushing carry share and 17% of the rushing yard share. For your running backs, you have Josh Jacobs and RJ Harvey, with Jacobs averaging 17.3 fantasy points per game, and then Harvey averaging 11.6 fantasy points per game. Once again, with your season averages. And the only turnover between both running backs comes from Josh Jacobs, with 1 rushing fumble. And then with their share, you get Josh Jacobs with 61.3% of the rushing carry share and 61.4% of the rushing yard share. And then with Harvey, you have 28.8% of the rushing carry share and 24.6% of the rushing yard share for Denver. And that's mostly because he's filling in for J.K. Dobbins, who is out, and that's why Dobbins has this more dominant amount, but he's slowly taken over since R.J. Harvey's been in for the last few weeks. For your receivers, you have Christian Watson and Courtland Sutton. Watson getting an average of 14.4 fantasy points per game, and Sutton averaging 12.7. Once again, flipped over the averages, and if you need to look at this data more, go ahead and pause the video because we're going to jump right into the charts since there's no turnovers between the two of them. And here you have Watson with about 12% of the team's target share and about 17.1% of the receiving yard share. Over here with Sutton, you get 21.2% of the target share and 27.2% of the receiving yard share. For Watson, he doesn't lead the team in targets or in rushing yards, whereas Sutton does for the Broncos. For your next pair of receivers, you have Romeo Doubs and Troy Franklin, with Doubs averaging 10.1 fantasy points per game, and Franklin averaging 10.7. With their numbers flipped over to the averages, we look at the turnovers with only 1 coming from Troy Franklin as a receiving fumble this season. And then looking into their share, you have Doubs with 23% of the target share and 20.4% of the receiving yard share, which does make him the most targeted and most productive receiver on the team. With Troy Franklin, you're at 20.8% of the target share and 19% of the receiving yard share, which is the second largest on the Broncos. Finishing out with our tight ends, you have Luke Musgrave and Evan Ingram. Musgrave has averaged 3 fantasy points per game this season, and Evan Ingram averages 6.8. Here's their seasonal averages, and there's no turnovers, so I'm going to jump right into the charts, where you have a target share of almost 7% for Luke Musgrave and a receiving share of about 6.1%. And then Evan Ingram gets about 14.4% of the target share and 12.2% of the receiving yard share. So this should be an interesting game to see how it turns out. You have 2 teams that are fairly similar in their rankings, with about average offenses going against pretty good defenses. I guess most notably would be this allowed passing rank of 12, which is a little lower on Denver, going against this passing rank of 14. But it does look like Denver should put a stop to their rushing game, where Denver might have a little bit more success rushing themselves against Green Bay. Denver's also a little outmatched in the tight end game, but it will always come down to the scoring, and you have a better scoring rank here offensively for Green Bay, even though they're going against a better defensive scoring rank here on Denver. But Denver's got a worse scoring rank against still a pretty good allowed scoring rank on Green Bay. So it does seem like the numbers would actually favor Green Bay a little bit in this game. But knowing Denver, maybe it'll be really close, so you never really know how it might turn out. And there's all your pregame data. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what else you'd want to see in the future. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.